Alright guys, software dev Jason here again. So I finally got to work on the car again. It's been about a week since the last video when I took the oil pump off. So today I'm going to try to get some things done. Mainly I'm going to try to get the pistons out today. I think I'm going to try to do this with the crank in. I guess I could take it out. I'm not sure. You may have to have... I'm not sure. But I'm going to see if I can get to everything with the crank still in the car. So I'm just going to take off the connecting rod caps, and then I'm going to try to knock the pistons up. Before I can do that, I'm going to remove this this plate here, and then I'll get started on taking the connecting rod caps off. Okay, so we got the guard out here, some kind of shield underneath the crank, and I got that soaking in some purple power. So as you can see, this is connecting rod for piston 4, and this is the end cap. We're going to take these off. I'm going to keep these together. I believe the way those connecting rods and end caps are made, the stock ones anyway, they're unique. I think they're made where they're already these two pieces here, the connecting rod and the cap, are made, I believe, as one piece, and then they're broken. You got to keep those together, I think. So I'm going to do one piston at a time, and we'll see if this works. I should be able to take that cap off, and I should be able, with like the end of a hammer or something, be able to kind of pop that piston up. So I'm going to give that a try. Alright, so I've got piston 1, piston 3, piston 4 out. And it's actually a lot easier than I thought. So these are, you break these free and they're nice and oiled up, so they're not that hard to break free. I'm tapping on these studs with a rubber mallet, and it pops the piston up a little bit, and then you can take this connecting rod cap off. At that point, I am taking a wooden handle for a hammer. I'm seating it up into this area. So that's the piston up in there. I'm seating it up in there, and I'm just gently tapping it out the top. Okay, all of the pistons are out of the block. So what I'm doing now is, before I move on to deglazing those cylinder walls, is I'm going ahead and trying to clean up the block some. I think in one of my other videos, I pulled off this oil pump, and that gasket, the gasket for the oil pump up there, would not come off at all. So what I've done, I found some gasket remover. This is made by CRC, and I've been spraying that on the area. I sprayed it about 3 times now, and I'm just letting it soak. I've also been working on where the head gasket was. I've been spraying that, and I went ahead and picked up this, made by Tecton, the same people who make the torque wrench I was using. But it's a gasket scraper. Any kind of scraper will work, but this one's been working really nice. At least on the head gasket part. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm doing now, just a little cleanup on some of these surfaces before I move on to something else. Alright, well, here is where the oil pump mounts after what seems like an hour of scraping and spraying gasket remover. It was really thick all around this edge and all around this edge over here. And as you can see, it is gone now. Both sides of there. So this guy worked wonders for that, because you can really put some pressure on it without scratching the block. One thing I have noticed, there's a little surface rust on this crank, so I'll have to use like an emery cloth or something to rub that out. Next task is going to be kind of interesting. I'm going to be using this contraption, and it's a honing stone for the cylinder walls. Basically, the cylinder walls are, you know, glazed pretty good, and I'm going to put a cross pattern in to help the new rings seat better, as per the manual. Now, I have never done this before, so it's probably not going to look like that, and I hope I don't destroy anything in the process, but let's see. Okay, guys. So the process of doing this involved compressing those 3 ends there so they would fit down into the cylinder bore there. Once they were in there, I started the drill and I went up and down. I attempted to do it at the same speed the whole time, and I always pulled the stones out before I stopped the drill. Now, as you can see, it's probably not the work of a professional. Okay, so I had to stop filming for a while because I got wrapped up in a few other things, and I was jumping back and forth to messing with the car. It's the weekend. I'm doing a lot outside. Anyway, here is piston 1 and the connecting rod cap for piston 1. And it's got a little carbon on it. I let it soak in some purple power, and I just lightly oiled it back up. Anyway, I left it all connected so I remember where everything goes, which piston this is. This is still the old rings, obviously. I have a new piston, and so I'm going to be reusing the connecting rods. I went ahead and spun those bearings out. I have all new bearings, and they only go one way. You can tell by the little notch there. They only spin into here one way. But anyway, on to the first little issue, that maybe the first thing I require outside assistance for. So this wrist pin in here, or piston pin, whatever you want to call it, this is the press type. So that doesn't slide out. That pin doesn't slide out without pressing it out. And I don't have a press, so I can't get that off so that I can reuse this connecting rod. I have new wrist pins. They came with the pistons, but I can't get the connecting rod off that pin. There's a few ways you can do it, or there's a few ways I could attempt to do it. You know, maybe fashioning like a homemade type press, where I could maybe put the bolt through there and maybe crank it out by putting some kind of spacer on the other side or something. I can think of a few ways where I could try to push that out myself with some kind of homemade press. I don't want to do it that way. I don't want to take some chances. Even though I'm not reusing these pistons, there's nothing wrong with these pistons. Like I said in my original videos, the piston for cylinder 4 is the only one that really got chewed up. As you can tell, I mean, there's no dents and dings in this one. There's nothing really wrong with this piston, so I really hate to bust it with some kind of homemade press. Maybe I can, sell these on eBay or something. I don't know. Or most likely just keep them sitting around here and doing nothing with them. But anyway, this may require a machine shop, or maybe if I find someone that has a press, I can get them to push those out for me. I think I can put them back on myself. I think I can put those wrist pins in the freezer for a while, get them cold. I can take a torch to this end of the connecting rod, and I can slide it in on its own without a press. I think I can do that kind of like you would do like a wheel bearing or something. I don't really want to try to get that out on my own. So I may see what a machine shop would charge to do that. Yeah, that's where I'm at. The new pistons I have new rings. I have new pins. I have new bearings. So the only thing I really need is this connecting rod, the cap, and the bolts there. I'm kind of stuck at the moment until I can get that done. This little update on this. This was the crankshaft. Some kind of shield. This kind of just bolts up underneath the crank. Sits under the crank, like for protection or something. I'm not sure, but I'm not sure what it'd be protecting it from. But whatever. This sits underneath the crank. This was filthy. I mean, this had like a layer of varnishy sludge on it, and this was just black. It was horrible. So I soaked it all day today, scrubbed it multiple times. This is not. There's nothing gonna be mated to the surface of this, so I scratched it up a little bit cleaning it. But whatever, it's clean now. Nothing's gonna be flaking off into my fresh, clean engine. That looks a lot better. And here are the bolts, or the nuts for that. Alright guys, that's where I'm stuck at right now. There's not much else I can do besides clean up my pistons that I have. I don't need these to be clean really, but I don't want to take them apart so I don't mismatch pieces. But mainly I'm just going to clean up this stuff and have it ready so that when I get ready to put the new pins in the new pistons, I'm ready to just bolt everything up. Alright, one more quick video. I didn't plan on making any videos of anything else tonight, but I started cleaning up the piston, the one that really got hammered when the valve seat dropped. You know, it doesn't look as bad as it did after it's clean. I mean, besides the chunks missing out of it, you know, it's pretty clean now. But no, I did want to point out one thing, and this is what makes it a serious problem. These rings are supposed to move around freely. And as you can see on this side of the piston, they still move fine. So the ring gaps there are fine. Where the rings sit the seat. So they're fine on this side. But the side that really got beat up, it got pounded on enough that it compressed those rings in there. Those are wedged in there. They're stuck in there. This middle one doesn't push in all the way, and it catches as well. So basically this side of the piston got compressed a little bit. And maybe only part of it, but that's what makes this piston no good whatsoever. Well, chunks of metal don't help its case, but that is a serious problem there, which is why we're going to put a new one in for this one anyway. But yeah, just thought I want to point that out. I thought you might find it interesting. Alright guys, today I took the pistons, the pins, and the old pistons and rods to a machine shop, a closer machine shop than the previous ones that I had called. This one's actually, they don't have their own website or anything. It's kind of a small shop. And believe it or not, I did some calling around, and the prices I were getting were almost always the same. They were charging about $40 to push the pins out, which I think is high. But you know, if 6 different places are all charging the same thing, then whatever. So they were charging about $40 to push the pins out of to press them out. And they were charging an extra $5 or so per piston to put the new rods back on. So basically, they got you one way or the other. If all you want them to do is press it out, you're still going to pay $40. If you want them to put the new rods on, then you're going to pay an extra $5 per rod. If I was going to have to pay the $40, the extra $5 wasn't that bad. So I found a local guy who didn't try to hassle me when I called about it, and even though he was charging the same as some of the bigger stores that I talked to, he was a little bit easier to talk to, didn't try to pressure me in anything. So that's who I went with, and luckily he's only a few minutes from my house. So anyway, those are getting worked on. I should have them back by Saturday. He said he could do it today, but he had something planned for this afternoon, so I'm not sure that I'll be able to pick them up tomorrow since I don't get off work till late. Saturday I should be moving on to putting the pistons back in the car, hopefully. So I was going to move on to cleaning some stuff up, because we all enjoy cleaning nasty stuff like this. But I did solve one little mystery when I first started taking this apart to clean up this valve cover. A couple of the pieces in the gasket kit that I didn't know what they were these little grommets, or these little rubber. They got metal on one side, and this kind of an O-ring type seal on the other side. And I didn't know what those were for. And when I pulled out this valve cover bolt, this came out in 2 pieces, and I thought it was 2 pieces, but it looks like it's just dry rotted and came apart. And so that is what those pieces are right there. And there's 3 of them, so I should have remembered there was only 3 bolts up here. So I have replacements for these, so I'm going to take those out. I'm going to clean all these things up. This is the PCV valve, I think. I took this off originally when I was unhooking the hoses, And then I just left the hose in there, and I left this in here. Now, to get this off, be aware that you don't just pull this thing out, because you'll tear up the plastic thread there. So you basically just twist it and then pull out. So that's not all the way in, but you twist it and then pull it out. So don't just try to pull that out. It rattles, so I don't think it's, you know, too dirty in there. I'm gonna clean it up anyway, or just order a new one. I'll probably try to make it work. It's not giving me any problems now. I don't want to replace it. It's pretty sad here. I can't put something like this back over the top of that new head. So I'm gonna try to clean it up like I did the oil pan, just soaking it in purple power, I guess. This is some kind of torque screws, but you can't even get the proper size Torx bit in there because they're so caked full of varnish. And well, this one may not be as bad as the yeah, this isn't going to be as bad as the oil pan. That was just horrible, but it's still going to take some soaking and some scrubbing. Alright, so we've got our valve cover cleaned up. Well, cleaned up as clean as it's going to get. This is after 2 days of soaking and scrubbing with a gasket scraper and whatever else I could get in there to scrape it with. You kind of get tired of cleaning parts after a while, so this is as good as it's going to get. It's about 10 times better than it was. I don't think I should have a good video of under this shield, but it was caked in here pretty good. I don't know, I'd say 1/8 of an inch in some places, caked of varnishy sludge type stuff. Anyway, this is as clean as that's going to get. You can still rub and get some dust off of it, but it's not gonna. I don't think there's gonna be any big flakes that come off this, like what would have came off the way it was before. This is the shield. That's a lot better than it was. I scratched it up some, but it doesn't matter. So yeah, that's pretty clean. This was pretty easy to clean. Cleaning it off, that's not as easy, because this is kind of porous. This is really smooth. That's where that is. The bolts and the Torx screws, I let them soak as well, and to clean the threads out of them and everything. These little skirts here move up and down now. If you can see that. Yeah, they wouldn't move before, or they were really sludgy in there. So the main valve cover bolts are cleaned up. So I'm going to go ahead and screw this thing down. And I don't know the actual name for this piece. It's just a shield that shields, you know, where the PCV valve sits and where this hose over here sits, to kind of shield it from the oil getting thrown up in there at them, I believe. I'm not sure what other purpose this serves, but it's basically a shield, I think, for those two pieces. I'm going to put this on, and then I'm going to show you something I got back today. Alright guys, so here is the valve cover all put back together. Well, as put back together as it can be. The PCV valve has a new O-ring. The PCV valve has been cleaned. This O-ring for the oil cap there has been conditioned. These valve cover bolts have all new grommets in there, so that whole little rubber piece and the metal grommet there is new. So that's it for the valve cover. Very exciting, I know, but it's clean, and I won't feel that bad putting it back over that new head. So on to something a little more exciting. I got my pistons back today, which is awesome. Those are the new pistons. This is piston 3. The machine shop did a really good job of pressing those in. It's not rocket science really, the machine does it all, but it all looks good, and you know, he used the assembly lube and stuff, so you know, I can't really complain. Hoping that he was going to put them back in properly, the same way that they came off the old ones, and he did. They're all right. This is kind of how I sent them. I sent them in a box, and you know, the machine shop's open normal hours, and I'm never around during normal hours. I don't even come through this area coming home in the evening until around 7 o'clock. So I had my wife pick these up for me today, and I checked them. I checked everything when I got home, and it's all fine. Everything's put together really nicely, and all the connecting rods are pointing the right direction. I didn't get them turned around or anything, so that's good. I don't think he took the end caps off, but they are all still paired up. So that's good. I can move on to sizing the rings now, and we can start putting this thing back together. The only thing missing from this box, however, is my old pistons. The machine shop didn't put them back in the box when my wife picked these up today. I don't know if that's kind of standard procedure. Only one of the pistons was beat up. The other three, like I showed in the other videos, those 3 pistons were in good shape. I left a message today and told him that I was going to come pick them up. Yeah, I'm going to see if I can get them back. I hope they just don't scrap them. I mean, there was 3 good ones. I'm not sure. They're probably not going to be worth anything to me, but I know a couple people that drive Focuses that are still waiting on the inevitable to happen. So I figured I'd just keep them around just in case. So I hope I can get them back. If not, I probably won't be too happy about that. But anyway, that's where we are. It's late at night right now, so I don't have time to start on the rings. But that's our next step, to get those rings sized and start putting these new pistons and rods and hooking them up to the crank. So, alright, thanks for watching.